Today in r/malicious compliance. I solemnly swear not to interfere with the investigation. Picture it. Tech support. 20s. I had a job doing tech support for a small company that did software as a service for a niche. I'd been hired at the company as Tier 1 support with the understanding that they wanted to create a Tier 2 position to do more advanced stuff, and that job was mine once I got the hang of things. Quick aside, get promises like that in writing when you get hired, kids. I'd been at the place for about a year with no promotion. In that time, I'd learned their systems and worked with the web development, database, and product development people so that I could start doing a lot of the tech support stuff that used to fall on their shoulders within our department. Eventually, after discussions with the head of product development and the head of my department, it was decided I'd start doing the more advanced stuff as my main job, and that I'd be the one in tech support to politely tell clients to pound sand if they were asking for something that was impossible or trying to findable a freebie via tech support when they didn't get it in sales. This meant I took a hit in surveys because clients didn't like to hear no, even if it was put in flowery language, but my boss knew the score and told me it wasn't a problem. Cut to the call. A client calls in saying that a critical piece of client data has been deleted from their system. It just so happens that our software gave us the ability to see who did what in the software, so I did a quick check and discovered that the person who called me had been deleting records that day, something we advised them not to do, and ended up deleting a chunk of information that they needed. They then called and blamed it on the software. I gave them the usual spiel about a fee for restoring information. They went ballistic, saying they shouldn't have to pay a fee when our software was at fault. I pointed out the record we had that showed they'd done it, and that we recommend against deleting records to avoid just this scenario, and they hung up in a tizzy. I figured I might get a question from my boss about it, but everything I'd done was by the book, and boss hadn't had a problem with that before. Then I got called into the meeting. The company owner liked to have a personal relationship with all his clients. He got to shoot the breeze with them and be the good guy, which meant clients had his personal cell phone number and they could call and get him to override anything his employees said. The practical upshot was a lot of time was wasted catering to last-minute changes, freebies, or trying to do the impossible because he wanted to be a people pleaser. Well, I get called into a meeting with the owner, the product development people, the database people, and my boss. I get chewed out for ignoring a critical issue where the software is deleting records. I can't get in a word edgewise because he's reaming me for not caring about the customers and being rude. It's pretty clear he got one side of the story from the client calling him, and he's not interested in hearing my version. He then tells the product development and database people that they need to put everyone on this problem immediately, that this is a terrible bug that could cause big issues. He then looks at me and tells me that I'm not to interfere with the investigation in any way, because he wants people who are good with the clients on this one. He cited my lower satisfaction numbers, and from my boss's silence they seemed more than happy to throw me under the bus. I could have told them the only bug in the system was PEGAC, but I figured if he was going to be a dick and my boss wasn't going to step, and then I was going to do exactly what he said. So people were pulled off of their work, find this bug. What resulted was a couple of weeks of the owner breathing fire at people to track it down. This resulted in a bunch of money being wasted both in labor hours trying to track down a non-existent bug and all the money wasted because they weren't working on updates to the software or things for new clients. Occasionally someone would stop by my desk and ask if I had any insight. I think the shit-eating grin I had when they were discussing the bug was a tip-off I knew something, but I politely told them I was following the owner's orders and not interfering since I wasn't good with clients. At the end of those couple of weeks, another meeting was called with the owner. The various teams said they were unable to find anything. At this point, I raised my hand and told them I might have something. The owner looked pissed, but I pulled out the log I'd found that clearly showed the user going in and deleting the information, which was something that wasn't there when they went to look because the user can turn off logging and delete records on their end, and the shitweasel I talked to on the phone had done just that when they realized they were at fault. They didn't delete the record I'd saved, though. The owner got angry all over again, asked why I hadn't said anything. The real answer was I was over the job at that point and had a side gig that was very quickly going to become my main gig, which resulted in a lot of fun little moments of malicious compliance. But in this case, I simply smiled and said I was following his orders not to talk with the client or the people investigating this terrible bug. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, smash the bell, and whatever else our YouTube overlords require nowadays.